Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual. I hope my glass is not that dirty. Titled this, Trouble Like Never Before. I hope this finds everybody well and at peace. I hope this finds everyone well and at peace. Again, this is titled, Trouble Like Never Before. It's football season. I know at 1 o'clock, everybody's tuned in to the NFL football. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to be tuned into it myself. And on my way, I wanted to touch on this subject, trouble like never before. I don't think that we quite understand fully, to its full extent, what is about to happen. How you doing, Kelly? What is about to happen? Yesterday, after service, there was a group of us who sat in a round table. How you doing, Brother Tobiah? We sat at the round table after service yesterday, and we really dived into this tribulation period. How you doing, a warm, soft fidelity in y'all? And we touched on this tribulation. I don't think people understand is what's really going to happen and the magnitude of how things are going to change when the abomination of the desolation spoken by the prophet Daniel stands in the holy place. So I wanted to touch on it because it's very important. It's key. Everybody's worried about this and that and all of this and all of that. Just, the debates and the discussions that we get into today, nobody's talking about this. Nobody understands this. And I'm going to tell you what it is right now. We were reading yesterday the tribulation that's going to come. And let me just say this. Hurricanes is not your problem. That's not your tribulation. Wildfire. People talk about the plagues. It's not even time for plagues yet. It's not even time. When we got finished yesterday, that thing opened up so beautiful through the word. And we'll find ourselves following every war that takes place. We'll find ourselves following every natural disaster that takes place when people have been doing what you're doing now for a long time. This is not first sessions of, you remember the eclipse? I've seen several eclipses in my lifetime. And every one of them came with some sort of biblical drama. Came with biblical drama. Where somebody puts a spin on something and it's getting ready to go down. And everybody talks about the government bought body bags. Years ago, when the internet, was it 20? Yeah, about 20 years ago. I'm going into the 1990s when Orville, the Big Brother, it was a book and it was in the 1990s. When 2000 Y2K was hitting its brink, the catastrophe. Things were going to shut down. Gas pumps was not going to work. ATM machines were not going to work. Your car was just going to stop moving. Some of you all that are subscribers to me, you're not even old enough to even recollect that time period. Because either you were 10, 15, the magnitude of the biblical perspective and the biblical spin that people were putting on it. But when when the year 2000 came, computers were supposed to stop working. People were drawing out money. People were buying guns. Some of y'all don't even remember this. And that was just 20 years ago. That seemed like yesterday to me. I remember Y2K, Y2K. Everybody was worried that computers were going to stop working. They weren't designed, and therefore the lights are going to stop working. Y2K is the year 2000. I mean, we went from 1999 to 2000. People, somebody says here, I remember, because we withdrew all the money and started to board up a house. Yeah, I mean, let me just tell you, because nobody, including myself, we did not, at least I did not at that time, read the scriptures. Had I been reading the scriptures, I wouldn't have been panicking. And let me tell you, the Messiah answered 3 questions with the disciples in Matthew the 24th chapter. When they showed him a beautiful temple and the buildings, and he told them not one stone will be standing. Y'all know that story. I talked about it long enough. Every building was torn down. So that happened in 70 AD. But then there were 2 other questions that have not been fulfilled. And that is, what is the sign of your coming? And when will be the end of the world? So the bricks in 70 AD, that's over with. Titus did that, Rome. But the other 2 questions, when will be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? 2 separate questions. The sign of your coming. He said there's going to be wars, rumors of wars, pestilence, diseases, all of that. We have been experiencing that for a very long time. And then he says, that is the beginning. The end is not yet. And then he says, that's going to be the sign. So we've been watching the signs of his coming for a very long time. And then he says, and this gospel must be preached into all of the 4 corners of the world. I did a lesson on what is the gospel. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but I'll just give you one subject. The gospel is the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's the gospel. And then he says, after this gospel is preached into all of the areas of the world, he says, then when you shall see the abomination of the desolation. Check this out now, because he's now saying, and when. That means the situation and circumstances is changing. Because right now you've just been dealing with wars, rumors of wars, pestilence, diseases, earthquakes in diverse places. Y'all know what we've been. Hurricanes, wildfires. The Amazon is on fire. That's not the first time we've seen Amazons and woods and all of this stuff been going on since the early 16, 17, 1800s. Back in the 1900s, there was earthquakes. Some of y'all forgot about the tsunami that happened about 10 or 15 years ago. We've been going through this. He says all of this is going to happen. But then he switches. He says, when you shall see the abomination of the desolation, stand in the holy place, spoken by prophet Daniel. So we went over there and we read it. We read 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 6. Read Philippians. Go over to Daniel, the 12th chapter. And he told us what this guy was going to do, how he was going to act, how he is going to perform. Then when you read Revelation's 11th chapter, all of this confirms that there's going to be a tribulation for 3.5 years. And the Messiah said, when you see this happen, then there's going to be a great tribulation. I was trying to explain to a sister yesterday. She says, well, wait a minute. Haven't we seen a whole bunch of tribulations? No, you have never seen nothing like this that's going to come. You've never seen it. And the Messiah said, except those days be shortened, all life will be destroyed. But then he says, but for the elect's sake, that's for the people of Israel, the children of God, those days will be shortened. So they only are going to last 3.5 years. That's it. So I'm bringing this up because we need to start concentrating on things that are more important, such as how do you know when that tribulation is going to come? What do you need to do to get yourself personally in a position where you can be approved and accepted to be in that number? That's the more dire, important thing right now. That's what it is. And so he says here, when you see that, then there's going to be great tribulation like you've never seen. Not as ever. Not then, not now, nor to come. When you see this is going to be something. And we read over in Daniel what this guy's going to do. He's going to speak words with flatteries. He's going to unleash something that's going to be beyond your imagination. With his doctrine, he's going to be able to convince even those with good understanding. And this is why the Messiah said, understand this. This is why Paul said in 2 Thessalonians, when they say go, don't go. When they say he's over here, don't go. Philippians says, listen, there's going to be a statue and he's going to cause all of these miracles. Don't fall for it. Y'all have not seen that yet. It's not happened yet, but it's going to. When that temple is being built, Revelations 11:3, he told John in his vision that they took a reed and they began to measure the temple. And then he says, everything on the out part, don't measure that, because that belongs to the Gentiles when they're going to trot down the holy city for 3.5 years. Why 3.5 years? Because that's how long he's supposed to be standing in the holy place, the abomination of desolation. That's how long the woman is going to be protected in the wilderness, for 3.5 years. And if you don't make it to the wilderness, because only the righteous are going to make it, because there's going to be a highway and there's not going to be none that erred there. Then when he sees that he cannot get to the woman, which is the church that makes it to the wilderness, he's going to flip for the next 3.5 years on her seed. Who is her seed? Those that keep the commandments and the testimonies of Christ. 3.5 years, there's going to be a beat down. Whoever don't accept the mark of the beast in their forehead, you won't be able to buy, sell, or do anything. You need to know this. And this is why I titled this, A Trouble Like Never Before. But Psalms 91, it says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High, he's going to protect us. He's going to overshadow us. Though we see 1,000 fall on one side, 10,000 at our right hand, arrows fly by, the pestilence, all of this stuff. Once you see all of this, not one thing is going to happen to you. We're not talking about that. We're worried about other stuff. We need to focus on what's getting ready to happen. So let's talk about it politically. Politically, there's something called the ecumenical movement. The ecumenical movement is a movement wherein It's been led by one church that comes out of Rome. And they've been getting the Jews, the Muslims, the Christians of all different denominations together. And they said, come on, let's stop this. Let's bring down the walls of religious barriers. Let's be one. Let's be on one accord. And they all are meeting in this ecumenical movement. Look it up. Which means they're saying we all serve the same God. Except when you look at this individual, according to Daniel, this individual is going to stand in the holy place operating as if he is God, thinking to change times and seasons. Somebody might say, well, they already done that. They haven't done that standing in the holy place, in the holy city, Jerusalem. But it's getting ready to happen. And when it happens, when that temple is built, the scripture says, then you're going to see a tribulation. And then after, Matthew 24 and 29 says, after the tribulation, immediately after the tribulation, the Son of Man is going to be appearing. There's a group out there that's teaching that we're already living. A lot of these things have been fulfilled. Ain't none of that been fulfilled. That's foolishness. That's crazy talking. None of this has been fulfilled yet. How did you know? People don't read. Verse 29. And it says, in those days, immediately after the tribulation, when that 3.5 years open, you're going to see the dark, the sky roll back as a scroll, the sun and the moon and the constellation is going to fall and lose its position. In other words, the atmosphere as we know it is going to change and the Son of Man is going to appear. However, when he appears, people don't understand this. When he appears this time, there's going to be great wrath. If you think that the abomination of the desolation did something, you wait till the Messiah gets ready to do his thing. Because the slain of the Lord is going to be many. But before he does his thing, before that tribulation is over and before he returns, let me say, not before he's returning, as he is descending, the saints of the Most High that are worthy to be in that first resurrection, we're going to ascend and we're going to be with him and we're going to be a part of the saints that comes back to establish his kingdom right here on earth. This is deep, people. This is what you need to be knowing. This is what you need to be studying. This should be enough to shake your shoes in their feet. That's what it should be doing right now. You're living in a country where you got enough time to study. You got freedom to study. You need to study and understand this. You need to know it. You need to know it in the heart of your mind. That way, if your book was closed, you'll know what it is by the signs that you've read and understand. That's why he said, whosoever readeth, let him understand. Read that over there in Matthew 24 chapter. He said, whosoever readeth about this abomination of the desolation, whosoever readeth, let him read and understand. You can't understand unless you read it. You can't read it unless you pick up the book and open it. Don't get sidetracked with these other issues. I've made it a point, I'm not getting sidetracked with other subjects. I want to get people on the point where you're going to get salvation. I want to get people on the point where they're going to have the Sabbath, the feast days, understanding the dietary law, and getting back to the realm of God where we're supposed to get at. So once we get there, once we get in that position, then you'll know the signs of the times when you see them. And you won't be carried away with every fire that takes place in Brazil, Amazon, California, every volcano that erupts in Hawaii. This stuff been going on for years. Don't look for nothing in that. There's nothing in that. He told you that was going to happen. These things are going to happen, but the end is not yet. But when you see that abomination, so don't get carried away when we see these things happening. Hurricane hit, it's devastating. It's devastating what happened. but has nothing to do with the tribulation. Those people may feel like they're going through a tribulation, but the tribulation that's going to come is a tribulation like you have never ever seen in the entirety of your life. You've never seen nothing like this that's about to happen, brothers and sisters. You've never seen it. So I hope and pray that this car cam and the subject of this opens up your eyes and your understanding, that you'll understand what's about to take place, and you'll wake up, get your house together, get your life together, get all of that together, because there's going to be a tribulation. And if you're not prepared for it, you're going to be doomed. Not if I'm going to be doomed, you will be doomed. No ifs, ands, and buts about it, people. It's going to happen. So I share that with you with the hopes that you will understand what's going to take place. I say to you all, peace and shalom. We'll talk soon.